Welcome to the Inclusive Leadership Coaching Podcast. I'm Terri Donahue, your neurospicy inclusion coach. I am an ICF PCC life and leadership coach, passionate about social justice and specializing in neurodiversity. My purpose on this journey is to partner with you as you build an inclusive coaching practice that expands your impact. Here on the Inclusive Leadership Coaching Podcast, we believe leadership isn't just about titles or positions of power. It's about behavior, collaboration, and creating real, inspiring change. So let's get to it. Hey, leaders, we're back. And today we're talking about how capitalism cultivates narcissism in inclusive leadership coaching. A couple of episodes ago, we discussed narcissism in the episode called Challenging Neurodivergence, where some people use their identities or just the labels like ADHD and autism to deflect accountability and use it as a moral shield. Yes, listeners, two things can be possible at one time. For example, someone can have autism and also have narcissism. Or someone can use the label and manipulate other people's lack of understanding. And guess what? That was one of my most popular episodes. So I thought, Terri, yes, I talk to myself like this all the time. Terri, you can talk about narcissism, girl, all day long. So why don't I? Yes, I answered back. And if you haven't listened to that episode after this one, go ahead on over and give it a listen. But today, we're going deeper. Before we start, I need to share something with you. What I'm about to show you, you can't unsee it. Once you see how capitalism cultivates narcissism, you'll start to see it everywhere. In your clients, in your colleagues, in the systems we navigate every single day, and mostly in yourself. This episode is about awareness, seeing the invisible forces shaping human behavior. And we have to be brave enough to talk about it. So here we are. We're talking about it. Now, I'm putting myself in your shoes. And I'm thinking, or I'm thinking maybe you're thinking, why is she talking about this? Yes, I'm doing the whole head this way and then head that way. Why is she talking about this? Let's see. Terri's talking about narcissism, which is a mental health issue on a coaching podcast? Wow, she's out of scope. But am I? Did you know that, like many industries, coaching organizations and coaching schools often tell us things that aren't true? They tell us we don't coach people with mental health challenges. They tell us we don't coach trauma here. But that's actually to protect themselves from liability, not to reflect the actual reality. And the reality is everyone, everyone in their lifetime experiences mental health and traumatic challenges at some point in their lifespan. Okay? Mental health isn't just clinical diagnosis. It's how we're doing emotionally, psychological safety, how balanced we feel, how we're coping with life, anxiety, grief, stress, burnout, life transactions. Or wait, life transitions. These all affect mental health. And there are many levels of mental health struggle. And trauma isn't just PTSD, people. Trauma is layered. Trauma is living under oppression. Structural societal trauma, remember that? Being rejected, surviving systems that dehumanize you. Everyone has complexity and life circumstances that affect their well-being. Humans are complex. There is no such thing as a straightforward case. This is what researchers call the policy practice gap, the distance between work as imagined by organizations and work as done by practitioners or coaches on the ground. Back in the day, the coaching industry imagined that we work with straightforward cases. The status quo was set and everyone just followed without questioning. It's easier that way. The reality? We're navigating complexity every single session, every single interaction. And that gap, that's capitalism protecting itself. Capitalism is an economic system focused on making profit. I know we know this. I know we know this. But I'm just gonna make sure, the goal is to make as much money as possible while avoiding loss or costs. Businesses and individuals compete to earn money, and success is measured by how much profit is made. It emerged in the 16th century, grew through England's Industrial Revolution, and was built on colonialism and the enslavement of humans and their labor. Fast forward to the 20th century. In the 1980s and 1990s, during the rise of neoliberalism, markets expanded, government cut support costs, and individual success became the central story. The old meritocracy. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, work harder, you got this. This came from Reagan and Thatcher, cutting social programs like unemployment benefits and public housing, healthcare, and food assistance. Their stated belief was that Government aid reduced individual initiative. Government help makes people weak. That's what they thought. You're on your own. Suddenly, everything became about business. Everyone became a brand. Your worth became your market value. This is the period when the modern coaching industry began forming. Coaching schools started in the late 80s and early 90s, and the International Coaching Federation was founded in 1995, formalizing coaching as a profession. So coaching didn't emerge outside of capitalism, it emerged inside of it. Hey, we knew that. As capitalism intensified its focus on individual performance, productivity, and personal responsibility, coaching became the tool to help individuals optimize themselves within that system. Human development became marketable. Leadership became monetizable. Human growth became something you could package, credential, and sell. So coaching becomes commodity. We don't coach mental health. We don't coach trauma. If it's out of scope, refer to a therapist. Clean, simple, sellable. Meanwhile, coaches work with actual humans who don't fit neat categories. Was this accidental? No. Mm-mm. When organizations create these gaps to protect profit, it is very intentional. It is not an accident. It was designed this way. And if you think I'm exaggerating, let's look at what coaches are actually reporting. I got some data for you. Did you know that a 2024 ICF study found 85% of coaches report that clients are asking for support with mental well-being, like how balanced someone is feeling and how they're coping emotionally and psychologically. This is not a niche issue at almost 90% of coaches. I mean, that's not a niche issue. And nearly half of coaches refer at least one client to a therapist or medical professional in the last year alone. So, whether the industry wants to admit it or not, coaches are navigating complex human needs every single day. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't have boundaries between coaching and therapy. Like, come on. Every single profession has a scope of practice, has boundaries, a job description. I mean, of course, including ours. But the boundaries we've been taught, they don't match the reality, is what I'm saying. Look at the data. When we see how systems shape human behavior and how people are forced to survive inside of them, like we are, we begin to understand why certain patterns show up again and again in individuals, in leadership, in communities, and organizations. One of the biggest patterns I see that capitalism has cultivated is narcissism. As coaches, we are dealing with humanity. So let's define what we mean by narcissism. Narcissism is a term used to describe a pattern of thinking, feeling, and behaving that is focused on oneself. It exists on a spectrum, like a dinner plate, showing which traits dominate and how much space they take up. Most spectrums aren't straight lines. Imagine them that way creates a moral ladder. Better at one end, worse at the other. A round model avoids that. It shows distribution, dominance, and what takes up more space. And everyone is different. Every brain is different. At the lower intensity, we have healthy ego, not narcissistic traits just yet. Healthy ego would look like pride in accomplishments, standing up for yourself, wanting recognition for work done well, believing you have something valuable to offer. That's healthy self-esteem. In the middle is where capitalism pushes most of us, like seeking external validation to measure our worth, comparing ourselves to others, chasing likes or approval, defining ourselves by what we produce. Just to name a few, and I know this is all sounding familiar. This is where masking, code switching, and performing acceptable success becomes survival strategies. And when those strategies become rigid, when performance becomes identity, when external validation becomes oxygen, here's the thing. Capitalism doesn't just reward certain behaviors, it weaponizes the split between your true self, who you actually are, who we actually are, and our false self, who we have to be to survive. We see it early in life, crying when we're hungry, and it's punished, throwing a tantrum, and it's discouraged, speak your mind, and it's judged. Even things like when we grow up, wearing your natural hair, using your first language, or being too much gets shaped by power. The true self learns to hide. The false self learns to perform. This isn't neutral. It's shaped by white supremacy culture, patriarchy, classism, ableism, by who decides what's acceptable. Over time, capitalism turns these survival strategies into constant performance, self-commodification, scarcity thinking, and prioritizing individual success over collective care. And these adaptations show up differently depending on intensity. At the high end, that full dinner plate with you got the mashed potatoes, you got the gravy, you got the chicken, and the survival strategies expand into rigid. rigid narcissistic traits. Very rigid. And what does that look like? This often involves a strong need for admiration, a sense of superiority, prioritizing self above others, harming relationships, making it hard to see others' perspectives, seeing people as objects to extract from. Rarely, and rarely choosing empathy unless it serves them. There's actually a myth that narcissistic people don't feel empathy. That's not true. Everyone experiences empathy. They just do not care. They're not thinking about you. They're not holding you in any regard, except if they want something from you. It could be attention, information, whatever it is. They'll be empathetic or they'll say sorry if they want something. So they do say sorry and they are empathetic. Anyway, this is where the survival adaptation becomes a little bit more recognizable because there is harm being done. And notice, it's not just biology. I mean, it's not just that. It takes trauma, the person's temperament, attachment, the lack of emotional nourishment, oppression, and systems all shape how these traits develop. This is called epigenetics. Your environment literally flips certain behaviors on. A narcissistic environment doesn't just teach narcissism, it wires it. Understanding this split, this spectrum, this system shaped behavior is essential for coaches. In psychology, narcissism can range from normal, adaptive forms of like self-interest to pathological levels, like narcissistic personality disorder. But in coaching, we don't diagnose, we don't pathologize. These are frameworks, just like ADHD is a framework. Autism is a framework, and so is this. We think of it more broadly as traits shaped by both personality and environment. Because we don't just work with traits in isolation, we work with humans shaped by these forces. We see the true self and the false self, the adaptations shaped by capitalism and other systems of power. And let me be clear for just 1 second. Do not misunderstand me, coaches. I am a survivor of narcissistic abuse from individuals operating on the high end of this adaptation. And even saying I'm a survivor can make it sound like it's a thing from the past. It's not. For many people, not only me, it is very present and very real. Many researchers believe the number of people operating with strong narcissistic traits is much higher, past 20%. Many of these individuals on the high end rarely enter therapy. Instead, they often leave a trail of people who do go to therapy or even coaching, seeking support these people, healing and understanding during or after the harm. So I hope I'm clear enough for you. Nothing I'm saying here condones the physical, psychological, emotional, and financial abuse that can happen from even brief contact with someone operating from this personality style. Understanding where these traits come from is not the same as excusing the harm they cause. Okay? So it's essential we see these patterns so we can coach more effectively. Understanding their origins and supporting people to navigate their complexity. So, as we wrap up, it's very important we see these patterns so we can coach more effectively. This is why we're talking about narcissism. It's everywhere in individuals, our executives, in organizations, in our communities, in our family. It's everywhere. It's 1 in 6 at least. It's not abstract. It's present every day. And if we don't see it or talk about it, we can't support the people we coach. And they're in coaching. And that's what I'm going to talk about later. Capitalism is built on ego-driven individualism. Everyone competing, everyone for themselves, isolated, inflating their egos just to cope, staying afloat in these waters and surviving. That's what we're navigating. And here's why it matters. If we only coach the individual without seeing the system, we risk reinforcing what we're trying to dismantle. We'll coach people to perform better inside the split. We'll coach resilience without questioning what they're being resilient to. We'll optimize the false self, and that is not inclusive leadership coaching. Capitalism creates the conditions where these traits grow and are rewarded. As coaches, we are working with spectrums and human-shaped behavior. We are supporting people as they navigate their true self and their false self. That's why I believe we need a structural lens. We can't coach inside capitalism without seeing what it cultivates. So let me ask you, once you see the split, can you ever unsee it? See you in a bonus episode where I bring these patterns to life through my real coaching experiences and my lived experience as a survivor, of course. Until next time, the bonus episode will be up in a week or so. Talk to you soon. Bye. Boom! Shakalaka! And that is a wrap on this episode of the Inclusive Leadership Coaching Podcast. If something in today's conversation got you thinking, I would love to hear about it. Connect with me on LinkedIn or at terridonahue.com. And hey, if you're enjoying this podcast or you really want to support me, go ahead and subscribe, leave a review, and stick around. There's plenty more to come. Next time, we'll dive into even more exciting conversations. Until then, keep leading with inclusion in mind.